In March of 1952, archaeologists found what could be the world's oldest treasure map. The 2,000-year-old scroll describes more than $3 billion worth of hidden gold and silver. Some think it's a hoax. Others believe the real fortune is still buried somewhere in Israel. CBN News Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell takes us back to the place where this ancient treasure hunt began, the caves of Qumran near the Dead Sea.
In 1947, a Bedouin shepherd wandered the hills of Qumran in search of a missing goat. He threw a stone into a cave, hoping to drive the lost animal outside. Instead, the sound of shattered pottery drew the shepherd inside the cave, where he stumbled on the greatest archaeological find of the 20th century, the Dead Sea Scrolls. In the years that followed, archaeologists found 11 caves and more than 800 documents of Qumran. But one scroll was different than all the rest. Instead of parchment, it was made entirely of copper, and it could be the greatest treasure map in history. The copper scroll describes a cache of gold and silver vessels buried in more than 60 locations throughout Israel. The monetary value is close to $3 billion today, but the historical value is priceless. The only place in ancient Israel with that much wealth was the Jewish temple.
It refers to the garments of the high priest. The amount of treasure that is buried is massive, and it's more than any one person could have. It's more than even a community could have. It just sounds like temple treasure.
This is a tremendous witness to history. To actually have a list of the treasures from the temple itself from the first century is just amazing. Well, we have nothing better than the copper scroll now for telling us what was really there.
This is Cave 3 at Qumran, where the scroll was hidden for nearly 2,000 years.
What we have left that had the scrolls in it is right over here. But it was actually, before the archaeologists got here, it was filled up to dirt right up to here where these markings are all along the cave. So if you follow that right into here, you come in here, Chris, you actually can see the place where someone marked where the copper scroll originally was found, right up against here.
Even the scroll's language is mysterious. Most experts date the copper to between 25 and 75 AD, but the author wrote in a rabbinic style of Hebrew that doesn't match the rest of the Dead Sea Scrolls and wasn't widely used in the first century. Adding to the puzzle is a series of random Greek letters.
The copper scroll had to have been written just immediately before the destruction of the temple. So it actually fits the glove perfectly for the zealots, who were the priestly group who were holding down the temple, keeping the temple from the Romans in the best way possible. But before they were massacred, they left things behind in caves here near Qumran.
Copper was incredibly unusual as a writing surface. It's not beautifully done, it's done quickly. Why would you do this on beautiful copper? The only reason to write on copper is you're thinking of long preservation, because copper can withstand fires.
Some of the hiding places listed in the scroll are easy to find on a modern map, like Jericho, the Valley of Achor, and Mount Gerizim. Others are more cryptic, like Solomon's Canal, which contains a stash of silver coins, a well in Milham, where garments for the high priest were hidden, or Mattia's courtyard, where more than 600 gold and silver temple vessels were buried.
The instructions on the scrolls is like a kid's treasure map in a way. They're talking about caves, they're talking about tombs, they're talking about aqueducts and pools and other things that were known to them at the time, probably with aliases of names applied to these places, so that only those people who were part of the inner circle would know where to go, how many steps to go away, and where to dig and find the temple treasure that was buried in that spot.
It assumes that whoever is finding the scroll will have some awareness of places that have long been forgotten. That's our problem.
So what happened to the treasure?
I think the treasure is somewhere out there. Somewhere. Maybe most of it has been found at different times by opportunists.
But Fawn argues that anyone looking for it today is about 2,000 years too late.
In my mind, most, if not all of these, were actually found by the Romans under the point of the sword. What we do know from the Ark of Titus in Rome, it shows a clear depiction of the main items of furniture and the trumpets that were used in the temple being carried in parade through the gates of Rome to the Forum. And we do know that Titus used the booty to build the Colosseum in Rome. If there's any treasure left, there would have been small parts that might not have been found that still lie out there ready for people to find today. We don't know.
The scroll's last line hints at an even greater treasure, still undiscovered.
What's interesting is that there were actually 2 treasure maps that were made.
Here's line 64 of the scroll. In a dry well at Kulit, a copy of this document with its explanation and an inventory of each and everything. The location of Kulit is unknown, and today it's become a modern-day El Dorado for archaeologists and treasure hunters.
The way I would read it, it's very much around Jericho. Not around Jerusalem, but around Jericho, perhaps as far south as Qumran.
The directions on the scroll may be a mystery, but the purpose of its writers is clear.
They're writing for the future, hoping that people will still have some continuity. They will eventually be able to find this copper scroll and reconstitute life in Judea with the temple at its focus. It's a document of hope.
Well, the archaeology, the history behind the Bible, the stories of both the Old and the New Testament, that's just a taste of what you'll see in the upcoming, the new version of Oracles of God, the story of the New Testament. That entire segment was done by Aaron Zimmerman, who's also the director and writer of these 2 movies. The first installment of Oracles of God told the story of the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Qumran community, and the rabbinical traditions behind the Old Testament. The next installment introduces you to the earliest followers of Jesus. Oracles of God, the story of the New Testament, explores how the Gospels, the letters, the eyewitness testimonies were preserved from the first century, passed down through the generations to form our Bible today. It's a film that captures all the drama, the danger, and the divine power behind the book that changed the world. For 3 days only, November 2, November 3, and November 5, you can experience this film in theaters nationwide. To get your tickets, go to cbn.com/tickets. Oracles of God, the story of the New Testament. This is no ordinary documentary. It's the story behind the Scriptures. And once you see it, you'll never open your Bible the same way again.